Namo Amida Buddha. The True Teaching on Amida Buddha and His Pure Land by Reverend Joshua Adrian Celia. Chapter 2. The True Teaching on Amida Buddha and His Pure Land. Part 3. The doctrine of the 3 Buddha bodies and 2 Buddha bodies in relation with Amida Buddha and his Pure Land. The masters of our school use 2 doctrines or 2 ways of explaining Amida Buddha and his Pure Land, both admitting as true the story told by Shakyamuni in the larger sutra. These are called the 3 bodies, aspects of the Buddha, and the 2 Buddha bodies doctrines. The doctrine of the 3 Buddha bodies, Trikaya. 1. Dharmakaya, or Hoshin, or Dharma body. This is the aspect of ultimate reality or the absolute truth. It is beyond forms, unchanging, inconceivable, without beginning, and no end. All Buddhas share the same Dharmakaya when they attain perfect enlightenment. This is why it is said that all Buddhas, including Amida, have the same essence. Not only Amida Buddha, but his Pure Land too, have the same Dharmakaya aspect. This is evident from this and many other similar passages in the sacred texts. Quote, "My land, being like Nirvana itself, will be beyond comparison." End quote. 2. Sambhogakaya, or Hoshin, or recompense body. This is Amida Buddha and his Pure Land in transcendental form, as a result of Dharmakara's practices and vows. It is called the body of recompense because it is the effect or the recompense of his practices and virtues. Thus, when Dharmakara became Amida Buddha, his 48 vows have become effective methods of salvation, and his Pure Land came into existence. To Amida in Sambhogakaya form did Shakyamuni refer to when he said to Ananda, quote, "Bodhisattva Dharmakara has already attained Buddhahood and is now dwelling in a Western Buddha land called Peace and Bliss, 100,000 kotis of lands away from here. Since he attained Buddhahood, about 10 kalpas have passed." End quote. Or when he said to Shariputra, quote, "The Buddha then said to elder Shariputra, if you travel westward from here, passing 100,000 kotis of Buddha lands, you will come to the land called Utmost Bliss, where there is a Buddha named Amita. He is living there now, teaching the Dharma." End quote. And also when he described the 2 aspects of Amida, Amitabha, or infinite light, and Amita, infinite life. Quote, "For what reason, Shariputra, do you think that Buddha is called Amitabha? Shariputra, the Buddha's light shines boundlessly and without hindrance over all the worlds of the 10 directions. It is for this reason that he is called Amitabha. Again, Shariputra, the lives of the Buddha and the people of his land last for innumerable, unlimited, and incalculable kalpas. It is for this reason that the Buddha is called Amita." End quote. These aspects are also described in Amida's 12th vow. Quote, "If, when I attain Buddhahood, my light should be limited, unable to illuminate at least 100,000 kotis of nayutas of Buddha lands, may I not attain perfect enlightenment." End quote. And the 13th vow. Quote, "If, when I attain Buddhahood, my lifespan should be limited, even to the extent of 100,000 kotis of nayutas of kalpas, may I not attain perfect enlightenment." End quote. The infinite or unlimited light of Amida is a transcendent Sambhogakaya manifestation capable of going anywhere in the universe. This is why he said that if his light should be limited, then he will not attain Buddhahood. This light embraces, protects, and brings the wisdom of faith, Shinjin, into the hearts and minds of people who are open to his message of salvation. Through his light, Amida tries permanently to influence beings and make them accept his salvation contained in the primal vow, the 18th. It is like an immense magnet attracting all beings to him. Some become open to it sooner, while others will do so in the future, but Amida will continue sending it until all hells are empty and all beings will become Buddhas. The infinite, unlimited life of Amida simply means that his transcendent Sambhogakaya manifestation will last forever for the benefit of all beings. This is why he said that if his lifespan should be limited, then he will not attain Buddhahood. Thus, the Sambhogakaya aspect of Amida Buddha has a beginning when he attained Buddhahood and no end, no limit, because he is the Buddha of infinite, unlimited life. Also, the infinite, unlimited life of Amida means that he will have enough patience and enough time to help all beings. This vow is in accord with a well-known Mahayana verse. Quote, "As long as space endures and unenlightened beings exist, may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world." End quote. So, Amida's infinite, unlimited life stands for infinite compassion. He will make no discrimination amongst those to be saved, and he will endlessly work to save all beings without any small break in his activity, as he himself promised. Quote, "If I should not become a great benefactor in lives to come for immeasurable kalpas to save the poor and the afflicted everywhere, may I not attain perfect enlightenment." End quote. 3. Nirmanakaya, accommodated, ocean, or transformed body, Keshin. According to Shinran Shonin, this is Amida Buddha as the object of the 9th contemplation, contemplation on the true body, in the Contemplation Sutra. In that contemplation, Shakyamuni describes Amida with a definite measurement or size of the body. Quote, Amida's body, is as glorious as 1,000 million kotis of nuggets of gold from the Jambu River of the Yama heaven, and that his height is 600,000 kotis of nayutas of yajanas multiplied by the number of the sands of the Ganges River. End quote. Thus, in chapter 6 of his Kaigyo Shinsho, Shinran said, quote, "As I reverently reveal the transformed Buddha and land, Buddha is described in the Sutra on Visualization of the Buddha of Infinite Life, Contemplation Sutra, namely the Buddha in the Contemplation on the True Body." End quote. In the same section with the 9th contemplation, the aureole of Amida Buddha is said to contain many, quote, transformed Buddhas numbering as many as 1,000,000 kotis of nayutas multiplied by the number of the sands of the Ganges River. End quote. These transformed, accommodated bodies of Amida Buddha, who emerge from his Sambhogakaya aspect, and who vary in sizes and forms according to the needs and characteristics of beings, this is what is meant by accommodated body, are sent towards all those in the 10 directions of samsara who entrust to him, as it is clear from the section 21 of the Contemplation Sutra. Quote, "Amateus, exercising supernatural powers at will, can freely manifest his various forms in the lands of the 10 directions. At times he may appear as a large figure, filling the whole sky, at other times as a smaller figure, only 16 or 8 feet high. The figures that he manifests are all of the color of pure gold. The transformed Buddhas and jeweled lotus flowers in the aureole of each manifested form are like those described above." End quote. The same is described within this passage. Quote, "Buddha Amateus possesses 84,000 physical characteristics, each having 84,000 secondary marks of excellence. Each secondary mark emits 84,000 rays of light. Each ray of light shines universally upon the lands of the 10 directions, embracing and not forsaking those who are mindful of the Buddha. It is impossible to describe in detail these rays of light, physical characteristics and marks, transformed Buddhas, and so forth." End quote. Shinran Shonin also believed that one of the many Nirmanakayas or transformed bodies of Amida Buddha is Shakyamuni Buddha himself. Quote, Amida, who attained Buddhahood in the infinite past, full of compassion for foolish beings of the five defilements, took the form of Shakyamuni Buddha and appeared in Gaya. End quote. In the conclusion of this presentation of Trikaya doctrine, we can say that Amida Buddha is beyond any form in his Dharmakaya aspect, dwells within his transcendent form Sambhogakaya in the Pure Land, and at the same time he is here with us, people who have genuine faith in him, in his various accommodated and transformation bodies, Nirmanakayas. Wherever we are, in our room, on the street, alone, or with friends and family, etc., Amida Buddha is always accompanying us. When we ourselves attain Buddhahood in the Pure Land, we'll have access to the ultimate reality beyond forms, Dharmakaya. We'll dwell forever in transcendent form, Sambhogakaya, in Amida's Pure Land. And in the same way, we'll go in all the places of the universe in various bodies of accommodation or transformation, Nirmanakayas, to save all beings. The doctrine of the two Buddha bodies, Nishu Hoshin. This doctrine was much explained by Master Tuan Lan in his Ojo Runshu. According to him, all Buddhas, including Amida, have two bodies aspects. First aspect, Dharmakaya of Dharma nature, Hoshu Hoshin. Second aspect, Dharmakaya of expediency, Hoben Hoshin, which is also called Dharmakaya of compassionate means. The first is the ultimate unconditioned reality beyond form, which is equally shared by all Buddhas, while the second is the specific and particular manifestation of each Buddha for the sake of saving sentient beings. The relation between the two is described as follows, quote, from the Dharmakaya of Dharma nature originates the Dharmakaya of expediency. Through the Dharmakaya of expediency, the Dharmakaya of Dharma nature is revealed. These two Dharmakayas are different but inseparable. They are one but not the same. End quote. The relation between the doctrine of the two Buddha bodies, as expressed by Tuan Lan, and the three Buddha bodies, Trikaya. The Dharmakaya of Dharma nature is identical with the Dharmakaya referred to in the Trikaya doctrine, and the Dharmakaya of expediency, Dharmakaya of compassionate means, corresponds to the Sambhogakaya or recompense body. Nirmanakaya or various transformed bodies are manifested, emanated from Sambhogakaya, and thus we can consider it as part of the Dharmakaya of expediency. Shinran Shonin accepted both explanations of the body's aspects of Amida Buddha, as we can see in this verse from his Jodo Washan. Quote, it is taught that 10 kalpas have now passed since Amida attained Buddhahood. The three Buddha bodies doctrine. But he seems a Buddha more ancient than kalpas countless as particles. Two Buddha bodies doctrine. In the first two verses, Amida is described as Dharmakaya of expediency or Dharmakaya for the sake of sentient beings, Sambhogakaya, while in the last verses, his ultimate formless Dharmakaya, Dharmakaya of Dharma nature, is revealed. Both Shinran and Tuan Duan did not deny the history or the story of Bodhisattva Dharmakaya becoming Amida 10 kalpas ago, as described in the larger sutra. Quote, it is taught that 10 kalpas have now passed since Amida attained Buddhahood. End quote. But they also wish to point out that this is only one aspect of Amida, namely Dharmakaya of expediency, Sambhogakaya, and that he also has an ultimate Buddha nature, Dharmakaya of Dharma nature, which has no beginning and no end. Quote, he seems a Buddha more ancient than kalpas countless as particles. End quote. This ultimate aspect of Amida, or Amida as a Dharmakaya Buddha, is the essence and true nature of his transcendental manifestations, or Amida as Sambhogakaya Buddha. Thus, Amida as Dharmakaya is preceding Amida as a result of Bodhisattva Dharmakaya practices and vows, Amida as described in the larger sutra. Why do I say this? The reason is very simple. Amida as Dharmakaya is the same with suchness, nirvana, or Buddha nature, which is always present, without beginning and without end, and not produced by anything, while Amida as Sambhogakaya, or Amida as Dharmakaya, of expediency, has a beginning in the moment Dharmakaya fulfilled his practices and attained enlightenment. This is why the Buddhas are called the Tathagatas. The term Tathagata is composed of Tatha and Agata, which means thus come, or Tatha and Gata, which means thus gone. The term refers to a Buddha who has thus gone from samsara into nirvana suchness, but also who has thus come from nirvana suchness to work for the salvation of all sentient beings. In our case, Amida as Dharmakaya of Dharma nature is nirvana suchness itself. As Shinran said, quote, Supreme nirvana is the uncreated Dharma body. Uncreated Dharma body is true reality. True reality is Dharma nature. Dharma nature is suchness. Suchness is oneness. Amida Tathagata comes forth from suchness and manifests various bodies, fulfilled Sambhogakaya Dharmakaya of expediency, accommodated and transformed. End quote. So, when Dharmakaya attained perfect enlightenment, nirvana, suchness, he automatically became Amida Tathagata in two aspects. Amida as Dharmakaya, or ultimate reality beyond forms, with no beginning and no end, thus gone. And secondly, Amida as Dharmakaya of expediency, or Sambhogakaya, that is Amida in form and name, dwelling in his pure land, thus come. Both are different aspects of the one and the same Amida Buddha. But again, if we ask ourselves who was first, Amida as Dharmakaya or Amida as Sambhogakaya, we should answer Amida as Dharmakaya. This is because, as I said above, the ultimate Dharmakaya is always present. It was present before Bodhisattva Dharmakaya formulated the 48 vows and started the practices, before he attained enlightenment and became Buddha, and will always be present in the never-ending future. This is the logic of Shinran's words. He seems a Buddha more ancient than Kalpa's countless particles. And of the two Buddha bodies doctrine, according to which Amida is Dharmakaya of Dharma nature, Amida beyond form, is the origin and essence, the true nature of Amida, as Dharmakaya of expediency, Amida in form and name, Amida in his pure land. Without Dharmakaya becoming Amida in Sambhogakaya form, Dharmakaya of expediency, Amida as Dharmakaya beyond form could not save anybody. So we say, as Master Tuan Luan, quote, from the Dharmakaya of Dharma nature originates the Dharmakaya of expediency, end quote. Also, without Amida in his eternal aspect beyond form, there is no Amida in form and name. That is, Amida is the reward of Dharmakaya, practices and vows. This is because if Bodhisattva Dharmakaya did not awaken himself to the Dharmakaya beyond form, he could not become Dharmakaya in form and name, or Amida as described in the larger sutra, dwelling in his pure land. It is very important to understand that without perfect enlightenment or suchness, ultimate Dharmakaya, as its base and true nature, Amida in form and name and his pure land would be just another samsaric manifestation. That is why Master Tuan Lan used the term Dharmakaya for both the ultimate nature of Amida Buddha, Dharmakaya of Dharma nature, and for his transcendent manifestations, Dharmakaya of expediency. He wanted us to know that the last are firmly grounded in the ultimate formless Dharmakaya. So, again, when Bodhisattva Dharmakaya attained perfect enlightenment, he awoke himself to the ever-existent and non-produced Dharmakaya beyond form. In that moment, in accord with his 48 vows, Amida in form and name and the Pure Land came into existence. The attainment of perfect enlightenment or awakening to ultimate Dharmakaya was the decisive factor which produced the Sambhogakaya, Dharmakaya of expediency aspect of Amida and his Pure Land. This again is the logic of saying, quote, from the Dharmakaya of Dharma nature originates the Dharmakaya of expediency, end quote. From awakening to the ever-present Dharmakaya suchness, Buddha nature, nirvana, and on the basis of this awakening originates the transcendent manifestations for the sake of saving sentient beings, which is Amida in form and name, and is pure land. In short, Amida as ultimate Dharmakaya is, quote, Buddha more ancient than kalpas countless as particles, end quote, as Shinran said. And Amida in Sambhogakaya form, or Amida as Dharmakaya of expediency, is his manifestation in accord with Dharmakara's practices and vows. What the larger sutra shows to us is the process through which Amida as ultimate Dharmakaya becomes Amida in form and name for the sake of saving sentient beings. This process was perfected 10 kalpas ago, as Shakyamuni and Shinran Shonin explained. Quote, 10 kalpas have now passed since Amida attained Buddhahood. End quote. Namo Amida Buddha.